Sports is live with Dale Bliss, writer for Autzen Zoo on all things Oregon football, Oregon sports, and the Big Ten. And if you can see over his left-hand shoulder, the duck is in the show today. Welcome, my frequent guest, one of my favorite, well, probably my favorite guest, Dale Bliss. How you doing today, Dale?
Awesome. It is great to be with you, JD. Thanks for having me on.
Now, you went to the spring game this past weekend where one Dante Moore, who decided to forego the draft this year, coming back, and 45,600 people? Is that what I read?
That's not a turnstile count. That's an estimate, but it's a reasonable estimate. They had a good crowd, lots of enthusiasm. The band was on hand. The duck was on hand. A lot of Oregon alumni from the NFL were there. It was a great show and a good time.
Now, so you got back Matayo Uion Galile and Tatum Tui Ati. Either of them did not play in the game, right? Did either of them play on Saturday, or they just watched from the sidelines?
Uiagalelei had a sack, so he played.
Okay.
Didn't take a lot of snaps. They went really deep into the rotation, as you will in a spring game. Tuioti set the game out for precautionary reasons. Both of them should be good to go in the fall. And Uiagalelei is looking like a first-round draft pick. PFF's mock draft has him going number 24 to Kansas City next year. Of course, that can change, but he's looking like an NFL first rounder and looking to make a big push in his junior year. Could have gone to the NFL this year. Dante Moore could have gone to the NFL this year.
Right.
As it is, he has 7 drafted, and next year the projections have anywhere from 10 to 13 going in the NFL, with 5 in the first round.
Okay, so my friend Brandon has joined us, who is a huge Oregon fan. I wanted to also tell you what did I see? Now I'm partnering with a group of guys and ladies, the Clashing Conferences, and Paul said to me he heard that Dylan Raiola could be in the mix now for Texas Tech because Sorsby, with the gambling problems, could go into rehab. And what do you think? Have you heard anything about that, or is that just a lot of noise right now?
A lot of noise, JD. That's all it is. There's just one portal window this year, and that happened in January. So Texas Tech is limited to guys who are left in the portal. An obscure 5'10" quarterback from somewhere in Dripping Springs, Texas, or somewhere. But the only guys available in the portal are guys who entered in January and didn't get picked up by a school. So the Ducks the Red Raiders are stuck with the guys they have in the program, and anybody they might pick up that hasn't gotten a job in NC2A Power 4 football. So, situation for them. Sorsby, of course, with the gambling problem, and
right.
Gambling can get away from a guy so easy. And the scary part of it is, JD, is that guys get as addicted to losing as they do winning. That familiar self-loathing feeling just becomes part of the pattern, and it's it drives them to make maybe some poor decisions. And in Sorsby's case, he got in over his head, and his career is in jeopardy. It's a shame.
Right. They said if he sits out, he can enter the supplemental draft, which Pryor did when he got all that money from tattoos and also memorabilia he was signing. So he went in the draft, ended up becoming a wide receiver. Listen, I just think this whole game, we talked about it, it's out of control. And then they go, hey, if you have a problem, you're not calling that number on the bottom of the screen. But it just goes to show now, when these kids making money, how the problems exacerbate and everything. So I guess we're going to see. Now, I wanted to bring up a name to you who could be the next Kenyon Sadiq, Jamari Johnson, right? Am I saying yes? Who?
Yeah.
What's
transfer
he, 6?
Right. Next year. was the backup tight end to Sadiq and played really well, had a lot of big plays down the stretch. PFF has him going number 14 to Tampa Bay. So he's looking like a first round draft pick, caught a touchdown pass in the spring game, a really athletic pass catching tight end who's a good blocker, good size, and he could be the first tight end taken in the draft next year.
He's going to get, I mean, Dante must be foaming at the mouth to have a guy like him. Also, you have Brandon Finney and Coy, what's it, Perich?
Yeah,
those are guys.
Perich, of course, transfer from Minnesota. Athletic, all-around players, really good on special teams, a ball hawk in the secondary, dynamic and athletic. He's going to be in the Dylan Thieneman role. It's not a one-for-one deal. He has his own skills and his own athletic ability, but that's the role that maybe he'll have in the defense. Maybe playing a little bit more in as a free safety and a little less in the box than Thieneman did. But, he's an athletic player in his third year, 2-year starter at Minnesota. They're very high on him, very happy to have him. Of course, Finney last year, one of the best cornerbacks in college football as a redshirt freshman. A guy who's, tough in coverage, come up and force the run, make turnovers. Had a terrific game against Texas Tech at the Orange Bowl. Really great game.
Phenomenal game. Yeah. Brand thinks he could be a top 5, top 10 pick. He looks like it. It's like the game. They said it takes a while for the game to slow down. With Finney, it looked like it slowed down pretty fast in that Texas Tech game, right? I mean, he looked damn good.
Yeah. So, he's a really good athlete, really smart, and spends a lot of time in preparation. He already trains like an NFL player. That's around 6'1", 200.
Right. Yeah. Now the thing is, okay, so they said De'Aaron Hill was muffed 2 punts, and now so your big kicker. What was your kicker? Atticus. What was the name of your kicker who just got? He didn't even get drafted. He went to Minnesota.
Yeah, Atticus Automaticus. He's gone on to the NFL, like you said. Free agent pickup with Minnesota. So they'll miss him. He was super accurate, great on the clutch last season, really won the Iowa game for him with 3 clutch kicks in the rain. This year they're turning to a redshirt sophomore, Gage Urich from Westland High School in Westland, Oregon. Has a good leg, attempted 2 kicks in the spring game for 51 and 52 yards. They were long enough, but he missed wide right and wide left. Made 2 other kicks from 35 and 41. So he's got to continue to develop, sharpen his routine, develop his confidence so he's ready for, a big role next year. Yeah, the overall the special teams in spring print game were clearly a work in progress. As you said, De'Aaron Hill muffed 2 punts. They had 2 missed field goals. They had busted coverage on the kickoff. It just was not sharp the way Joe Lawrence normally is. But they'll get that ironed out. They have too many good athletes to fit in those roles. Perich being one that when he goes live in the fall, they'll be ready.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask you about. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Stewart does next season. So Stewart is the wide receiver one next year, but Stewart dealt with a lot of injury. What was it? An ankle injury kept him out of the playoff games, right? Did he miss a lot of
Stewart missed all of last year. He tore his patellar tendon in June.
Okay,
and he has not played since the Big Ten championship game in 2024. He did hurt his ankle that year and missed the big loss to Ohio State at the Rose Bowl, and he hasn't played since then because of the torn patellar. But spent a year in rehab, really applied himself. He clearly has his speed back. He broke free for a 76-yard completion from Dylan Raiola in the spring game. had 4 catches for 110 yards, wearing a green and yellow non-contact jersey. That was precautionary. He's moving well. He's got his speed back, great releases off the line. And with the Ducks, JD, it looks like it's going to be wide receiver 1A, 1B, and 1C. The Stewart is a great talent, a former 5-star, who could play his way into the first round. Whereas Decorian Moore is, very dynamic. Ended the game with a 60-yard touchdown pass from backup Brock Thomas. So the Combat Ducks won 17-10 on a 60-yard touchdown with 22 seconds to play. Decorian Moore, drawing single coverage on the outside, just beat his man like a drum. And he's a terrific talent. Caught a 36-yard post pattern from Achilles Smith Jr., son of the legend, Duck legend Achilles Smith. And also, altogether, he caught 5 balls and looked really, really good in his second year as a college player. And Jeremiah McClellan, who sat out the spring game, just has a knack for the clutch catches and the big plays. He made some catches off his helmet and diving, and he's a miraculous guy out of St. Louis, Missouri. Wonderful player. He'll be a factor for the Ducks too. So their big 3 at receiver are all really good, and they got Iverson Hooks from Troy to play that slot role, the third down role in the multiple receiver sets. And of course, Jamari Johnson is a threat to catch 50 balls this year. So it's a great receiver core. It really is, with some intriguing talent off the bench. Jalen Lott, the 5-star from Texas, reports in June. And Gatlin Bear, who went 2 years on a religious mission, is back. He's about 6'1", 195, and runs like 10-1-200. So,
oh my God.
So
wow.
Yeah, it's intriguing to see what he'll be back, coming back to football after 2 years on the religious mission, and had a good spring. So he could be a factor in the offense too. Love the way Dante Moore is developing. He made some. He didn't have a big day in the spring. He wasn't in a lot. Couple 3 series, threw a total of 8 passes, completed 5. But it was the little things. I watched the screen pass play that got blown up by the defense, and he just calmly threw it in the dirt. And a couple other times he found his outlet receiver. Once he made a deliberate overthrow to avoid a sack. So he's just a little more calm, more settled, more confident. He's clearly the leader of this team. And, he could go number 3 in the draft to the New York Jets next year, according to PFF. Could have gone in the draft this year and probably been the second draft quarterback taken. But he made a really smart decision to come back, get an extra year of development and more starts at the college level.
Right. Now, Brandon said he thought he had a little more zip on his ball. Did you see that from him? Did you see more zip? Did he look like he had a little more?
I think his leg drive has improved. His pocket presence looks a little better, and he's just more comfortable. Because he's seen it. He's been in the film room. Lanning and Moore and the Ducks are going on a goodwill tour to Japan in June. They're going to teach Oregon football to the Japan Football Committee, do a little community, and do a little 7-on-7 and see the sights a little bit. And that'll be a great team building exercise, and more chance to tell the story and open up a whole new fan base for the Ducks.
Wow. Now, I did see, I was reading some articles because I wanted to be, redshirt sophomore on the line, Aiden Breland, and redshirt freshman Matt Johnson, they had on Saturday combined for 5 sacks, 3 from Breland, 2 from Johnson, and linebacker Jerry Mixon said that he feel that Breland has taken the biggest strides this spring, which only could help them. I mean, you bringing back, what you're bringing back with what's it? It's Bear. Who the three? Yeah, it's yeah. I was Angalea, Lalea, and uh Tuatoti and Washington and Alexander, all for senior years. Now you get these young guys coming in who are going to be chomping at the bit to get to the quarterback. You know, good things are coming to Eugene.
Absolutely. And, depth on the defensive line was one of the pre-spring concerns. They lost guys, Keon Gray, Terrence Green. They lost guys to Notre Dame, Alabama, Missouri. They're going to start at those schools from their second unit. Dan Lanning has never lost a starter to the portal, but they recruit so much talent that their second unit guys are really attractive. And so this year they had to make some real adjustments and see some improvements, guys, to get that depth, because you got to have it for a 17-game season. The front defensive line, the front four, the starting four, man, that's an amazing group. All future NFL players. Tuioti, Uyunglele, Bear Alexander, Amori Washington, the defensive tackle, has developed his game to the point that he's become a problem in practice. When Haloti Ngata was a Duck, a 5-time Pro Bowler, College Football Hall of Famer, in 2003, 2004, he was so disruptive in practice that sometimes Mike Bellotti had to kick him out of practice because just so they could run some plays. He was blowing up everything. And obviously, Washington has a long way to go to become a potential Pro Football Hall of Famer like Ngata is, but he's developed that same qualities. He's so dominant and difficult to block that sometimes they've got to leave him on the sideline just so the offense can have some success and run something. And he's looking like a first-round draft pick, probably go, 14, 16, somewhere like that. I mean, 6'1", 320, powerful, quick. But the development of those second unit guys, Aiden Breland, Matthew Johnson, was really exciting to see. They not only had the sacks and the penetration and the pass rush moves, they looked really good against the run. There are a couple of guys who do film breakdowns. Landon Klingwall is one. He was a Penn State guy. But it really broke down some of what they were able to do and some of what they've learned to do. Getting to the offensive lineman with a quick first strike, reading the running back, shedding the blocker, and making the tackle at the line of scrimmage. It's at the run game. It's the whole package. It's the hand fighting and all their development. They had some other guys who flashed in the spring game too, but they were the main two. Dutch Porisk, the freshman from St. John Bosco, had a good spring and looked good. Elijah Rushing is back, and he's a strong defender. Nasir Wyatt, who was a pass rush specialist last year, is bulked up to 240 pounds, a good weight, very quick, very dynamic. So he's ready for a larger role as well. And they got a true freshman from Alabama, Anthony Jones, who looks like a guy who can contribute in several different roles. And that's exciting to see, not just the guys they have in their athletic talent, but their versatility. Matthew Johnson and Breedland can play all the way up and down the line. Johnson started as a defensive end, and now he's moved inside, looked very effective at about 6'3", 295.
Just, what the thing is when you're talking about it, that the defenders seem like they're almost faster than the running backs because they're shedding a block. The running back just has to get the ball, but to shed a block and get through the line like that. And we're talking about 300-pound men. We're talking about 295 men. The speed and agility they have, the athleticism, it's through the roof. And who else did I read about? Yeah, I read about, DeAndre Johnson, Derek Brown Jr. He was playing against young alignment. They said he was doing stuff. Dantzler, you brought up right? You brought up Dantzler. That's another guy. Beaver Blue Dancer, is that his name? Oh, Beaver. I'm sorry, Blue Dantzler coming off the. I mean, you're gonna have injuries, so you're gonna need depth. And just looking at this, it seems like an abundance, a plethora of depth with this team right now, which is great. Yeah, I mean, wow.
I agree with you, and that's a real strength. The depth and versatility are incredible. Of course, DeAndre Robinson is a transfer from Clemson, I believe, and Dantzler they got from Oregon State, just down the road.
Right, right,
So yeah,
and yeah,
they've got some great depth. They recruited well on defensive line, so the outlook there is very, very strong.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. Who else did they said, oh, Tony Cumberland's recovering from an injury from a recent car accident. Like you said, Anthony Jones Jr., Dutch Horace, who is a true freshman, right? He's a true freshman. Horace?
From John Bosco, the Braves, yes.
And Prince Tabazon all got to play. Well, he only 13 snaps, but Jones and Horace. I mean, like you said, Jones was a top player in Alabama, which we know is a football hotbed. I mean, and wait a minute. Jet's not coming till next year, right? Jet is not playing. Is he playing year after next? Right? He's not till next year.
No, Jet Washington is on the roster and participated in the spring and played some on Saturday, I believe. He's wearing number 24 this year, and he probably isn't in the too deep at this point, but tremendous athletic talent. A college prospect in both football and basketball.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Now Horace in the spring game played more snaps than anybody. He had 41 snaps, and really, great motor. Very relentless. He already showing signs of getting it, and he'll at least be a contributor on special teams this year.
Well, and that's the thing that I love when I know sometimes it's overused, but there's something about a kid's motor that he just keeps that helps him develop. And you say he's a true freshman. He's only going to get, he just got into the weight program. Give him a year under the program, he's going to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And you can see guys that are getting drafted. I think Thienemann's a great example of that went in the first round that I guess went a little lower than he did. But I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the draft, but I did look up the schedule. So I was like, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the schedule for next season. Now, you open against Boise State, and I think, I'm not Boise State seems like they've taken a little bit of drops since Genti left. But then Oklahoma State, you got the new coach with Eric Morris. You got Messmaker, who led the NCAA last year with 4,379 passing yards. He had 34 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. They got a wide receiver, Wyatt Young, last year at North Texas, who had a 70 for 1264, 10 touchdowns, 18.1. And the guy they aren't really talking about is Caleb Hawkins, who ran for over 1,400 yards, 6 yards a carry, 25 touchdowns, 1,800 yards combined total yards, 29 total touchdowns. I mean, now I'm not saying these are three guys, but I don't think it's going to be an easy. What they scored 60 on them at Autzen this past season. I think it's going to be a little tougher game.
Yeah, it was the game that got Mike Gundy fired. Well,
yes,
along with several other games, but that was really the one that made people realize it was time to move on. But Morris and this new group that he's brought in, this is a different thing. If the Ducks go into that game, flat and overconfident, thinking, we crushed these guys last year, they would be in for a rude awakening. This year, the game's in Stillwater, and Morris has seriously upgraded the talent. The Cowboys will be a factor in the Big 12, and they'll have a potent offense. And Oregon's get tested early. I think they've got enough talent to go in there and handle the assignment. They've certainly proven that they handle hostile environments well all through the Lanning era. But that game will be much different than the year before. And the Boise State game is sneaky tough. The Broncos have always played the Ducks tough. In fact, Oregon's 1-3 lifetime against Boise State. The last time they played in 2024, Dylan Gabriel's first game, they needed a long punt return and a long kickoff return by Gus Johnson and Noah Whittington to win the game. And they kicked a field goal on the final drive of the game to win like 34-33 or something like that. It was really close, scary
Right.
close. So
Right.
they're going to get Boise State's best shot. And they'd be foolish to go into that game thinking it'll be easy. They also, September 26th is a real test that you point to because they go to the Coliseum to play USC. Trojans have something like 16 of 18 starters back. Of course, Jaden Maeda's back at quarterback. And they're looking to make some noise. I've seen some of the way too early post-spring rankings have them about 17 in the country. So that'll be a test and probably a big crowd in the Coliseum and possibly an ESPN, Saturday game or something like that.
Yeah. So after that, you play UCLA at home, Nebraska, which I think Nebraska's not. I think Matt Rule's not for long in Nebraska. I just don't think they have the talent. Illinois concerns me because he always. I always butcher Brett Bielema, right? That's his name, Bielema, Brett Bielema. Every year has teams that compete and they win a bowl. I mean, they're winning. He's winning double-digit wins every season. He's got a good team. Then you have Northwestern with the new. I guess they got the new little stadium. Then the big game is at November 7th at the Ohio State, which I think you two match up well. I mean, they got the quarterback coming back. You got the quarterback coming back. You got Jeremiah Smith. They have you know who else they got? The wide receiver. His dad played in the NFL. I'm blanking on his name. The kid, his dad played and got killed at a young age, but
yeah, you can picture
Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah,
right.
The Ducks wanted him too. I can't think of the guy's name, but a kid out of Southern California, originally from Ohio, and he's a talent. I mean, Ohio State's always loaded at wide receiver. They always have top 5 talent. They're very well coached. Certainly, that's a game that will have national implications, but the Ducks don't want to think too far ahead because they have plenty to worry about before them. As you said, Illinois is always tough and physical, and that game is in Champaign this year, I believe. And
it is.
After they play Ohio State, I think they have Michigan. So it's a tough schedule. There are plenty of landmines on this thing, and you just simply have to be ready for Big Ten football. And they've gotten all the accolades and preseason predictions and all of that stuff, but that doesn't win football games.
No.
Big tackling, execution, that wins football games.
Right. But I look at the schedule, I really feel like I think the games that stand out to me that I'm most concerned about is USC, Illinois. It's really the road games. And then and Michigan, I just don't think I'm not sold. I know they've got the coach from Utah, and second-year quarterback. I feel like today my brain's, and I feel like he has to take a major step up in his play this year for Michigan.
I totally agree. I think Bryce Underwood will thrive.
Yes,
partly because of the culture Kyle Whittingham will create. They'll run the football. They'll be tough on defense. Those are the quarterback's 2 best friends, right? So Whittingham will definitely study that, bring back some of the pride in Michigan football, and he'll be rejuvenated by, a new opportunity and a change of scenery. So I think Michigan will be a tough out for a lot of people. And I see them winning 8 or 9 games and maybe even making the playoffs.
And Chris Henry, that's the name I'm thinking of. The dad was Chris Henry. It's Henry. I don't know his first name, but it just came in my head. Yeah. I mean, so that's why I looked at the schedule and I was like, I mean, Dale's going to be on during the season, folks. Don't worry, he's coming back once the season's, and we'll do once we get closer. But I just wanted to kind of like do a little taste, a little buffet, a little. What do they do at the wedding? At weddings on the East Coast, they have the hors d'oeuvre hour, I guess you want to call it. That's what I was doing, a little hors d'oeuvre. I was doing a little hors d'oeuvres before the main course. the appetizers. I was doing little appetizers for you. But this is the thing too. I feel like the game against the game against Indiana kind of woke up the Dante Moore experience. And him and Lanning. They said, can he win the big one? I don't know if he can, but I feel like this could be the year where it's wide open. I mean, Indiana should be good, and they don't play Indiana this year, which is interesting. But I mean, are you feeling right? You feel this team is a playoff worthy team, right? Playoff caliber team, correct?
Do most of the over-unders have them right at 10.5 wins. And, definitely the key to their season is Dante Moore taking that next step, having that Bo Nix kind of year where he maybe throws 40, 45 touchdowns and limits the interceptions to 5 or 6. The key to his performance would be gelling on the offensive line. They've got a lot of talent there, not as much experience. They've got a veteran center in Lalaulu, to kind of run the show, make the line calls. Dave Iuli at one guard, but they'll have 3 new starters, probably Fox Crater at left tackle, Kawika Rogers, Douglas Utu, Emmanuel Iheanacho are all in the mix to possibly start at the other guard. And looks like Michael Bennett, the transfer from Yale, may get the nod at right tackle. Zaire Addison is another possible candidate. But Ali Terry, their line coach, has done a great job over the last 3 years. He's had 3 different groups that made Joe Moore Award semifinalists. Last year, they finished in the top 3. So he does a really good job of developing a cohesive offensive line. And every year there's changes and turnover. But this year, definitely, they have to identify that starting 5, identify the 8 that they can rely on, especially a swing tackle type of guy. But there's plenty of 4-star talent, plenty of guys who have been in the program 2 or 3 years. They only took 1 transfer, Bennett from Yale. So they're relying on the people they've developed. Mike Cavanaugh is back as their assistant line coach. So offensive line is their big question, but there seem to be a lot of answers in that area.
And Whittington's gone. So it's Davison. It's Jordan Davison. Who are the running backs for this year?
Jordan Davison, De'Aaron Hill, right. They're the 1-2 punch, And okay. After that, you've got to identify the 3rd and 4th guy. Dink Riggs is in his 3rd year in the program's good size, a big back, probably around 6 foot 220. They picked up Simeon Price, a transfer from Colorado, who has good leadership qualities, good receiver out of the backfield. He's been in college football for 5 years, so it looked good in the spring game. Trudarian Ball, a true freshman, has got the quicks. He hits the hole quickly. He was the most effective back in the spring game, had the longest run of the day at 8 yards. And by the way, that's a reflection of how strong that defense is they dominated the offense and didn't give up any explosive plays in the run game, and just a couple of bad matchups in the pass game. But it definitely was a defensive scrimmage.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what 10 sacks I saw, and you said they gave some deep balls, which is going to happen because you have got. I mean, you lost some guys. You don't have the veterans in the second. You lost, Thieneman. That's a guy you lost. So who's going to be the guy to step up? And that's what we talked about. We talked about that. Finney is going to get the chance to be now. He's more of a veteran. He's been in the wars already for a year. So that's the thing. And the transfer from Minnesota. So that's the thing. And it's like you said, it's just get them in, and it just takes time to gel. And that's right. I mean, so you watched the game and you saw some things that were like, okay, things we got to work on, but you saw a lot of pluses, a lot of positives in this spring game. Yeah.
Definitely. I think they're on the right track and at the right stage of development. They'll have to come together over the summer and in fall camp, develop the offensive line the way they need to, and nail down the rotations in the secondary. But this is a team with, you know, 13 NFL players. They'll have as many as 13 drafted in 2027, and as many as 5 in the first round. So there's absolutely a talent base to really do something. We've got to take that next step and go a little further in the playoffs to have the sort of season that matches expectations.
Right. And let's be honest. Last year, you looked at Indiana was like a team of destiny, which I really was surprised how well Miami played them in that championship game, where he did not have the best game in that championship game. So it was interesting to watch it at that. You know, it was interesting to watch how Mendoza had to deal with adversity, use his legs to make plays in the championship game. And Miami just did not give up. And I didn't think Carson Beck was a great quarterback, but I thought he made plays in that game. And I could see him getting a shot. He's going to start some games this year for the Arizona Cardinals. And that's the thing, too. I hope that Dante Moore gets at a team like I look at the Jets made some good draft picks. I would love a guy like Dante Moore to go to a team where he can have the weapons to succeed in this league, as opposed to going to a team and you're like, oh my God, this guy's going to be in trouble. You know, like, so that's what I worry about, where he ends up. But I agree with you. Him staying next year was perfect for him. Like you said, the game will slow down. He's had another year with the playbook, with the system. It's only going to help him. So we're going to see what happens, which is exciting.
It is exciting. The number that the NFL guys often use is 30 starts. College quarterback, 30 or more starts, has a much higher rate of success at the next level. Dante Moore right now is at 22 starts, full-time starter for 1 full year at Oregon. So this is his opportunity to show, you know, a growth in his command, a growth in his decision making, a growth in his ability to handle big games. Although the big game rap with him is a little unfair. I mean, he made some big time throws to win games for the Ducks last year. I think about the Penn State whiteout game, double overtime. He rolls out to the right, oncoming rusher in his face, eludes him, sidearms a pass to Gary Bryant Jr. to win the game. And with 106,000 fans in the stadium. And at that point,
Iowa.
Yeah,
right.
Iowa.
Penn State,
yeah, makes a big time throw with 22 seconds to play in the game down the sideline to Jeremiah McClellan. You know, put the ball in a window that was this big over the defender's shoulder, drive him for the winning field goal. The USC game, the Washington game, made big plays to win the game down the stretch. And so some of the things about, you know, absolutely the whole team, including him, had a horrible game against a very good Indiana team in the Peach Bowl. No doubt about it. But they will use that. You know, they will use that all year to strengthen their resolve and think about peaking at the right time and developing as a unit, and and taking their games to the next level, which they want to do.
Which leads us. Okay, so this I looked up so you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 Ducks drafted. Sadiq to the Jets, which I'm not 100%. First of all, they don't have a quarterback. No offense to Geno Smith, but they last year they drafted Mason Taylor. Taylor's Taylor, the Hall of Famer's son. I love Sadiq. One of my friends feels that he's going to be a bust. He's an athletic tight end, and I hate when they do that, Dale. When he hasn't even played a snap in the NFL, they're already putting, he's overrated. I go, can we let him play a little bit? You know, let's see what he can do. He's going to get passes on his way with the Jets. What do you think about him going to the Jets with as the highest drafted Duck?
I think that he'll be Geno Smith's best friend in the offense, right? Veteran quarterback, you got a dynamic pass-catching tight end with 4.38 speed. I mean, the fastest tight end in the NFL combine history. And Smith, he has his limitations as a quarterback, but he does know how to use a tight end. and Sadiq, who's got a dynamic target, 6'3", 250 or so, can range down the field, catch the ball, is seen. He's a good blocker, very underrated as a blocker, as athletic as a tight end as anybody in football. So uh, being in a situation where you have a veteran quarterback with limited weapons, he'll have a chance to really show himself. And as long as he stays healthy, I think he'll have a great pro career. And the knocks on him are silly. I mean, I seen him make so many plays last season at Oregon. And and as I said, he's a really determined and persistent blocker as well. Really prides himself on having an all-around game. He's he's driven. He's from a small town in Idaho, and he knows that you know, probably 300 people came to his old high school to be a part of the draft day and
Yeah.
watch the draft together. So that's the kind of support he has, and that always helps when a guy has a support system like that and has a perspective like that. So I think Kenyon League will be a tremendous success, and Jamari Johnson's going to follow him next year. It's interesting. Dan Lanning, in his 4 years at Oregon, has had 31 players drafted. In the previous 4 years before Lanning came, the Ducks had 14 players drafted. Right now,
Wow.
among West Coast teams, Oregon has 55 players active in the NFL, more than USC, more than Washington. SC's at 43, Washington's at 39. So it is really starting to show uh, the recruiting, the development, the culture, and then this year, where they're looking at having more than a dozen drafted, Oregon's created a name for itself and established an identity as a place where players go to prepare for the league and get developed. And as Lanning always says, the proof is in the pudding.
It is. And what do you think about Thieneman going to? I thought he was going to go to the Vikings, but he went to the Bears, which be perfect for his nice the NFC North where they just beat each other, the black and blue division. I think that's a good pick. I like that pickup by the Bears.
I think the Chicago fans will love him. He's from a small town in Indiana, I think Westfield, Indiana. So it's not far from Chicago. His family will be able to go to games. He has a really close family. And just the style and tradition of Bears football is perfect for him. He's a physical safety who's a real student of the game, spends a lot of time in the weight room and the film room. Great speed, in the high 4.3s at safety. He's maybe the fastest white guy defensive player in football. Like that, he's determined, got a great work ethic, he's physical, and yeah, he definitely fits the Bears culture and the Bears tradition. If you think about Brian Urlacher and Dick Butkus, he's that kind of physical, relentless player, and Chicago fans, I think, will really come to love him.
And then, I was so also Emmanuel Pregnon went third round to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's a little sooner than some people thought he might go. But the thing about Pregnon is he's a power guard. He's not a guy who's built for his own blocking or a lot of finesse stuff. He's the kind of guy who's built to drive somebody into the ground. And block inside. And, he's about 330 pounds, runs a 5.37 40, but he's strong and physical. He'll fit great in Jacksonville and have I think, a long NFL career.
What about Kennedy went to the fourth round of the Chiefs? Those are usually you pick up guys that become right.
Yeah,
pick up a guy that could end up being a starter.
The Chiefs. He joined Jeffrey Bossa, who the Chiefs drafted last year. Kennedy's very smart. Can play a lot of roles. Be a nickel. He can cover. Be a safety. A student of the game. Had a terrific year last year. for the Ducks, very strong in coverage. And, in Kansas City, where they're so good at picking up guys with value. And
Right.
in the fourth round, Kennedy's definitely a value. Another guy who has a chance to play a long time in the league, just because of his work habits.
Yeah, Brandon says him and Delane, the kid from LSU, who they think went too high, but I think that Casey was looking. Casey saw something, and ever since they took Mahomes, they know what they're talking about. When others people say they take guys too early, they know what they're talking about. They have guys in charge that know what they want. They have a great DC who's going to be a Hall of Famer and a defensive coordinator, and with Reed and yeah, I agree. I agree that Chiefs are building for the future.
Draft the guy you need. Draft the guy
Right.
with the traits that work in your organization. Don't worry so much about what the mock drafts say or what the experts say or what the knocks are on this guy. Find the guy that has the traits you want. It's like Kevin Costner in the Draft Day movie. Draft this guy no matter what. If you see somebody who has what you're looking for, what fits your overall plan, don't be shy about it. Pick that guy.
Right. Because I saw somebody went in the draft in the first round. It was the wide receiver that the Niners took because I think they took him early because Stribbler, whatever. I think that was his name, Stribbler, because they were afraid he wouldn't be around 10 picks later. So it's the guy they wanted, not because, they took him too early. I'm like, well, they took the guy they wanted, the guy they knew they needed. They needed a physical wide receiver that could get the 50-50 balls. And, and that brings me to Botcher, right? Bryce Botcher. I love him with the Colts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'll be fun. He'll look good with the horseshoe on his helmet. And again, Colt fans are going to love his grit, his work ethic, his attitude. Bryce Betcher, I think is the way the family pronounces it. Betcher came to Oregon as a walk-on, right?
Crazy.
He played baseball first. In high school, he was a quarterback and safety. Started out in special teams his first year and just, kind of worked his way onto the field and developed himself into a 130 tackle guy as a senior. And terrific athlete, drafted as a center fielder by the Astros, as everybody knows. And yeah, it definitely fits the Colts and that hard-nosed attitude of his will really really shine there. Another pick that I think is intriguing and I think has a real chance for success is Malik Benson going to the Raiders in the sixth round. I mean, here's a guy with 4.34 speed, fits that Raider history of the explosive outside wide receiver. And they haven't had that guy for a little while. So Benson could develop into a real game breaker for
I agree.
Mendoza, could be his. Then they also, I think the year before, they took Dante Thornton, who was also an ex-Duck who transferred to Tennessee. So they have two really good, tall speed guys on the outside. And that's fun to see. It goes back to the Raider tradition. You pair that with an improved running game and Giante. So who knows? Maybe in a couple, 3 years. The Raiders
and all they have is right. Seen a couple. I didn't mean to cut you off, but they also only have Bowers. When you really think about it, Bowers is their guy. When you think of offense, catching the ball, and Brandon brought up a good point that Bryce fell too far. He thought that someone that he said they had him listed as a special team guy at the next level. He was great value. He thought, which you agree with. I agree with 6 in tackles. And this is what I feel with that, Dale, is that if there's a guy who always is around the ball, that's the kind of guy I want on my team. Like Rodriguez for Texas Tech. Miami went after this and said, they may have drafted him too high. No, he's a guy that makes everybody. This is a guy who is hungry, plays with enthusiasm, has a great motor. I just feel like that's a guy I want on my team. I want a guy that's going to go out there and give 100% every damn play like it's the end. He doesn't know if this could be his last play. And I feel Bryce is that kind of guy. And I feel like Malik had so much knocks, transfers. It was do or die for him. This was it. And he came and he had a great year for Oregon. I love him going to the Raiders. You got the new coach there, the former OC at for the Super Bowl champion Seahawks. And I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I like that pick because I was looking. I didn't think I looked the other day. I said I didn't see Benson's name, and then I looked. I go, ooh, I like that. I like him as a Raider. I like him as a Raider. So
Good for him. And the Chargers picked up Alex Harkey to play guard.
what do you think about that?
Well, Harkey fits better as a guard. He had to play tackle in Oregon, but with his size and his meanness, he'll work better as a guard, and I think help the Chargers, who really have been decimated with injuries on the offensive line the last couple of years. They also picked up Isaiah World as an undrafted free agent.
Yes. What do you think about that?
World would have been drafted had he not hurt his ACL in the Peach Bowl. 6'8", 309, huge.
Jeez, that's huge.
So Jim Harbaugh was pumped to pick him up as an undrafted free agent. He's a really quality guy who could develop if he rehabs that knee with some diligence. Definitely has physical tools.
And think about this. So Alt got injured last year. Slater's been hurt the last 2 years, even though signed that huge contract. There's chances. And if there's a team you want to go to, I mean, with that defense, the Chargers defense, if the offense could somehow, compete with that defense, they actually lost to what they lost. Ola went to, I never liked the guys getting the big deals, but I feel like that this could be a big jump for them. Justin Herbert, I'm expecting big things out of your boy, Justin. And did I see that Bo Nix had to get a second surgery? So they were comparing it to the former Alex Smith injury. But then he said, no, it's not as bad. But I think I heard that he had to get a second surgery on that ankle, which is not, he poo-pooed it down. But
yeah, that's tough. That's a tough situation. But Bo is, he's a really, people don't appreciate what a tough customer he is. He's resilient. I think he'll handle that and work his way through it. He definitely is in a great situation in Denver, again, with a really good defense, supportive fans, a good coach, and a system that really fits him. So I think he'll bounce back from that, but it definitely is a challenge.
Now, what do you think about Matthew Bedford invite to the Saints rookie minicamp? Punter James Ferguson Reynolds, the Giants rookie minicamp. So that means that they just invited the minicamp. They haven't getting a contract. But I think with those guys, maybe you move around a little bit and we'll see what happens. So what do you think about that?
Ferguson Reynolds has a chance to make it. I mean, he's a really smart punter. And he helped the Ducks in a lot of ways. He got off some big kicks in clutch situations, completed a pass for a key first down in one game. He's one of those Aussie punters. And right. he just has a toughness about him that you don't often see in a punter. So I really think that he'll surprise some people because his first year at Boise, he averaged close to 50 yards a kick as a punter. Wow. Okay. He's really crafty and in using that Aussie style, buying time and giving the coverage more time to get downfield. Rarely has a kick blocked, rarely has a bad kick. So I think he can help somebody. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he sticks. Bedford, we'll see.
Right. What do you think about Noah Whittington going to the Texans? You know what? He's a guy who might be able to. I'm kind of. I mean, he had some good games.
He's a hard runner, JD, and he's a really good pass catcher out of the backfield. So I can see him sticking as a third down back. A kick returner. He's got some explosion. Right. runs tough inside. He was a great back for the Ducks. Very similar to the guy who went to Tampa Bay. Uh, I'm blanking on his name. I'm really sorry. But his predecessor at Oregon was a really good back for the.
I know you're talking about right. Wait. You're talking about who's there right now? Got drafted. You're talking about the one
Yeah,
who's with Tampa right now?
yeah.
Yeah. I see his face. I see faces. I don't see names. I see faces. I'm gonna have to look it up afterwards. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Right.
Brandon just gave it to us, Bucky Irving, and
Yes,
Willie.
Bucky Irving. Thank you, Brandon.
Yes, he's similar in style to Bucky. They're both a tough,
Okay.
look around, good explosion. And very versatile backs can catch the ball out of the backfield and make plays that way too. So he could stick around for a while. He could play a role. Kenyon Barner, the former Duck from the team that went to the national championship in 2010, he had a long NFL career just because he was so versatile and could do so many things. He was never a star at the next level, but he was a valuable role player, returning kicks, catch and pass on third down, what have you. And, good in the locker room. A guy like that has all those qualities, uh, can make a career for himself and stick around a while. Those
Right.
third down
Right.
backs play 10, 12 years because they don't get beat up the way the
Right.
starter.
Right. Oh, and he also was a former Eagle. Brandon is a huge Eagle fan, even though he lives in New Jersey, which is a
Yeah.
big sticking point for me. But I let it go because I love Brandon. But yes, yes.
Barner,
Also, Luke Bass. What?
I'm sorry
What?
for interrupting. Barner has
No, you didn't
three
interrupt.
siblings, two with New England and one with Philadelphia. So he got some hardware in his NFL career.
He definitely and in the end, because I'd be like special teams. There's an art to catching the ball out of the backfield. There's an art of blocking in the blocking. Being the guy they want to put in there. They need plays. He can versatility. There's something to be said about that. That's a guy he's like the Swiss Army knife. You got guys in Swiss Army knife. That's good things. What do you think about Luke Basso? I love that the long snapper for Denver. I just think it's he played 39 games. I mean, yeah, and it'll be back with Bo Nix. That's great.
He 39 games, and you never heard his name called, which
Right.
for a long snapper is perfect, right?
Right.
Never had a bad snap. Accurate, dependable. I think about that Iowa game. It's pouring down rain. It's bitterly cold. Every snap was perfect. They made 3 field goals and needed every one of those, won 18-16 on the road. And that's the kind of player Basso was for the Ducks, super reliable, So that's what he could bring to an NFL team. And again, have a long career just because he fills a role.
Right. Now the thing I love Atticus signs with he's going to be a rookie invite with the Vikings. I think he will make the NFL, just not with I mean, he's not going to replace Reichard. Will Reichard was 33 or 35 last year, but I guess we'll see what happens. I'm just kind of curious what made him pick the Vikings of all teams to go to when they have I know kickers are, they're replaced quite quickly, but I'm kind of curious why of all the teams he picked would be the Vikings. I'd want to go to a team where I have a kicker where I'm like, oh, you know what? He's a little unstable, but he'll be seen by people. I think he will eventually. I just don't know if it's going to happen with the Vikings, is what I'm saying.
Savage is a super accurate kicker, like maybe 85, 88% for his career. But in the NFL now, JD, the evolution of kickers is amazing. I mean, they're getting out to 55, 60 yards. And Sadiq hasn't shown that kind of range as a Duck. I think his long kick for his career is maybe 51. But, in the NFL now, man, the Denver kicker, the Minnesota kicker, the
60. Dallas, Aubrey.
they're way, way out there. One first down and they're in field goal range. It's crazy.
So he's going to have to work on his, he's going to have to work on his distance to get, but this is maybe just the opening, and we'll see what happens. I mean, the great thing is now I know they have the UFL. Aubrey was in the UFL. I mean, there's jobs out there. So, maybe it's going to take him a year or two to get the NFL, but he'll get there. Just has some work to do. I feel. I don't know what you felt about that.
I agree with you. Because a guy who can kick under pressure, a guy who's accurate and dependable, I mean, you'll get a chance with somebody because coaches don't have a lot of patience with kickers.
No, they do not.
2 or 3 in a row, and they're checking the waiver wire.
Right. You have a bad week, and yeah, right. Oh, he was 2 for 5 this weekend. That's not anymore. And I looked. I watched stuff. On Facebook. They have like the kickers. Guys were making 80% of their kicks. If now you make 80% of your kicks, you're done. You can't be making 88. You're missing a bunch of kicks, or 75%, 70% of your kicks, you're done. So it's very interesting how it's changed so much, and how these guys, like you said, you're across the 50. All right, we can kick a field goal here. I mean, it's crazy, really. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. Now, yeah. Now I looked up. I haven't followed. Are you covering the baseball and softball teams at all? Really, what other sports? I want to give some shout outs, or not really?
I haven't written a whole lot about them. The softball team has an outfielder from a transfer from Cal, Elon Butler, who's just blowing up this season. She's had 15, 20 home runs already. Just really a clutch player. I love the Oregon softball team. Melissa Lombardi does a terrific job with them. They're so spirited and unified. They win games coming from behind. They won something like 15 straight series in Big Ten play, and they had two dominating pitchers in Elise Sokolsky and Lindsey Grine, and man, it's just a great unit. They're fun to watch play. Riley McCoy and Stephanie Miyake and all of them. A lot of power, a lot of speed. Their second baseman is a little slap hitter, and she's fun to watch because she's so gritty. Great group.
Because great group. So Nebraska's 40-6 overall. 20. This is as of yesterday. 20-1 in the Big Ten 13-game win streak. UCLA, which is always a powerhouse, 44-5, 19-2, 9-game win streak. And Oregon women 38-10, 18-3. So you have 3 teams who've lost a total of 6 games in conference this year. I mean, they're powerhouses. Even Washington's behind them. They're 15-6 in the conference. They've lost 6 in a row. So think about, they were the hot team, and now Nebraska and UCLA and Oregon, which is only bodes well. Which it still blows my mind when I say Big Ten, and I'm talking about Oregon and UCLA in the Big Ten. I think of warmer areas than the Big Ten, which I always think of snowstorms. So it's kind of funny.
Incredible. There are 3 teams in the Big Ten in line to possibly host regionals. And
right,
that could be fun. It could be a fun year for the Big Ten in the tournament.
And the men are in 3rd place. They're 15-6. UCLA is 21-0 in the Big Ten, and Nebraska is 17-4. They're ahead of USC, which is usually always a powerhouse. So you have both teams 3rd in their respective conferences in softball and baseball.
The other day, the Ducks used like 9 pitchers
really
to win a game. Yeah, I think they allowed 1 or 2 hits in the whole game, won by a run, but they used 9 pitchers. I mean, that's how resourceful they are.
Wow.
It's a really good baseball program. Consistently, Mark Wasikowski has put together a good good team, and they have a freshman hitter who's leading the team in home runs. An insanely talented guy, really bright.
Wow.
Yeah, I gotta look him up.
And the cross country team, because we're getting toward the nationals. That's, I mean, first of all, Oregon is running on basically an Olympic track now, right? Because they built it up. Hayward Field is now, they built it up. It's a mecca. It's always been a mecca, but they really, when they did the refurbishments of the stadium, it's gorgeous. I haven't been there. I've seen it on TV, but you've been there. It's a beautiful stadium for track and field.
Hayward Field is sort of the shrine of track.
Right.
The Olympic trials are held here regularly. The national championships are held here. I mean, it is a beautiful track facility, and they draw good crowds, very appreciative crowds. And I was looking up the baseball team. Ryan Cooney, the second baseman, hitting 373 this year with 8 homers and 34 RBIs. He's their leading hitter. Drew Smith's a veteran. He's got 14 home runs this season. Yeah, Berkeley Mavius, the catcher, is hitting 310.
Okay, so guys,
one guy I was trying to remember is Angel Laya. He's only a freshman, 12 homers this year, 37 RBIs, and hitting 302. So, yeah, it's a good baseball team, and they're beginning to gel, for the stretch drive of the season.
Oh, and also I wanted a basketball men's team had a terrible year, which just a terrible year.
Yes.
And a lot of people transferred out, correct? A lot of people decided to take their talents elsewhere.
Jackson Shellstad, their point guard, from Wesleyan, Oregon, same school as Peyton Pritchard. He transferred out. That was bull. Kwame Evans transferred out.
Good riddance.
8 or 9 guys to the transfer portal. As you said, it was just a horrible year. I mean, Nate Biddle got hurt early. The big 3 at one time were all out. Were decimated by injuries and never really got it going. Dana Altman has had so many, Sweet 16 teams, has, a 15-year career at Oregon, and I don't know what he has lifetime, 600, 700 wins. I mean, he's a very decorated coach who's earned the right to do the rebuild, and they've gotten aggressive in the portal and added some players. They got a point guard just the other day, so they're trying to rebuild the thing. I think Altman's the right guy to do it, but people will be watching with some skepticism because this last year was a disaster.
But Dale, look what Michigan did. They brought in 5 new starters, and voila, national championship, which my girlfriend said she was a big part of making this happen. So it can happen. I mean, I'm not saying Oregon's going to do that, but yeah, you're right. It has changed so much, hasn't it? Can you imagine back in the day, 8 or 9 players leaving your team? It'd be like, well, what are we doing? Who are we bringing in?
Yeah, basketball, I think, is even more volatile than football that way. The
Agree.
It's totally overall. That Michigan team amazed me in the tournament because, I'm watching it with my next door neighbor, Dave, and his son, Bodie. And I looked at the Spaniard, the big guy, 7'3" and 4.
Right. Maya, right? Maya? Yeah.
I'm looking at him, during warm-up saying, that guy's a stiff, No.
And then he just, no.
He knows how to use his size. He's got a good all-around game. And holy smoke, that they were so big. And the little point guard just made them made all their big shots. Incredible run they had. That was a great story. Just the second NCAA title for Michigan in basketball.
Isn't that crazy? 89. Yeah.
And not even the Fab Five. It was a different team.
But they did. Yeah, Fab Five went to the final, which they took away because they took money. So they basically pretended they weren't there anymore. But the point guard, the former UNC kid, comes in and I'll tell you, I had Arizona. I thought Arizona was going to destroy them. They made Arizona look very, very weak, very weak, very weak.
Yes.
So, and the women won their first playoff game, tournament game, and then got blown out by what 30. I think they got blown out by 31 points the second game. Yeah, they got blown out in their second playoff game in their March Madness.
See Texas, and Texas just had too much firepower. But that was a fun team to watch, JD. I mean, Katie Fiso, their point guard, did a terrific job. Mia Bell, the forward from Fresno State, and they just got, and Ahis Tute, their forward from Luxembourg, just developed over the year. They were fun to watch the way they came together. They ran, they played defense. That was one of Kelly Graves' most fun teams, just in terms of their style of basketball. Obviously, they had great success in the Sabrina years and so on, but they put together a good group. And Fiso's back, so this next year could be even better.
So the women's team looks a lot more promising than the men's team.
Definitely
for next season.
Because we got Fiso and Tute to lead the scoring, and between the two of them, that's a great 1-2 punch.
Oh, okay.
Graves always
right. So we covered the draft. We covered your football. We did baseball, softball, basketball. We did a little track and field. Did we miss anything? And you're writing articles, so they can find you. Dale, where can they find you? You're all over Facebook. You're all over Twitter.
Autzen Zoo, AutzenZoo.com, or the Autzen Zoo Facebook page, or @AutzenZoo_Bliss. I'll be around.
What are you writing about coming up? What's some of the things you're covering coming up?
I think that the most exciting story for me is the football team and their national championship choices. Most of the post-spring polls have them between 1 and 5. They're a realistic contender for the national championship. Just got to learn to take that next step.
Right, and we're dying for the next step. We've had tastes. There's been teases, but to think how close you could be to get it would be nice. It would be a nice feather in the cap, because Dante Moore has to be up there he's probably top 5 for the Heisman. I would think and if he has a good year, they still have, and no offense to Arch, my cousin Hal, who's a huge a Texas alum, but Arch Manning is going to have to really take a jump for me to have him where I think I saw enough from Dante Moore that I feel he could be has a strong shot at the Heisman this coming season, as opposed to Arch, in my opinion.
Yeah, he'll contend provided they win those big games. He's got an opportunity September 26th against USC on the road to build some momentum with a strong game. C.J. Carr, the quarterback at Notre Dame, is the guy I've seen in places as the front runner, because, he's a good player, a wonderful player, and a terrific program, and Notre Dame has a really manageable schedule. So he has every opportunity to look good, provided they find him a running game, losing 2 guys to the NFL draft and running back.
They lost 2 guys the first round, right? Yeah. We were talking about that. We were talking about Love going to Arizona with no line, and really coming off a terrible season, new head coach, who nobody really wanted that job. And I feel like Love, I pray for the best, but I don't know what's going to happen in Arizona. I feel like that, he's they said, he could be a future Hall of Famer and all this, and he's a game breaker, might have been the best player in the draft. And I'm like, doesn't matter. He could be, it doesn't matter if he doesn't have a line that's getting him, getting a hold for him. He can't do everything. He could get the crap beaten out of him for 4 years. And then that's the end of Love.
Yeah, I agree with you about his talent and the situation. I mean, they definitely got to build a team around him, solidify that quarterback position in the offensive line, or it could be a miserable start to his career, although he's a tremendous talent. Darian Mensah, another guy who's getting a lot of mention as a preseason Heisman favorite, went into a good situation in Miami.
Oh, just, I didn't like Duke anymore, and they were going to sue me, but, I'm going to go to Miami and it's just amazing. The money, too. I mean, he's like, he had a great year at Duke. Duke should have made the. I thought they should have made the if they won if they won the ACC, they should have made it to the tournament, which won't happen ever again. But Menza now goes to Miami, where they just replaced a quarterback coming off a national championship game appearance. Yeah, that's another guy. But I feel more. He has the chip on his shoulder. I think he's pissed how the season ended. So I'm curious. I'm very curious very curious this upcoming season. When does camp start? So they go to Japan in June, and when does camp start? August? End of July?
Right around August. It's 30 days before the first game of the season, so it'll be right around August 3rd.
And they were listening to you, Dale, because you had said maybe week 0, the season's to start week 0, so the playoffs start early, and we don't go till we're playing the games on New Year's Eve, and then the season's over right after that, as opposed going to no man's land, putting the game, which I agree with. I feel like let's start the season earlier. So, get a couple of games in before classes start. Why not? So I guess we'll see what happens.
College football really, really needs an overall plan that's consistent and a calendar that works. It is nuts right now because the portal and declaring for the draft and coaches moving to new position, that all runs together right in the middle of the playoffs. And the Ducks got caught in that squeeze last year, lost close to 30 players in the portal. I mean, that's insane. You're preparing for the biggest game of your season, and your coaches are going to new jobs. That is your coordinators. And players are in the portal and declaring for the draft. I mean, and all that's happening in the playoffs are on. And the playoffs are running all the way into the NFL playoffs. It just doesn't work. The only sensible thing to do is start the season week 0 so you can start the playoffs first week of December and make the championship game on New Year's Day.
Right, because you had your two coaches, offensive coordinator, who was the offensive coordinator, who's now at Kentucky, and the defensive coordinator went to Cal, right?
Tosh
what happened?
Coach at Cal, and Will Stein is the new coach at Kentucky.
So how are they juggling? Like, I have to get I'm recruiting for Kentucky. I'm doing a game plan for Oregon. It's not feasible. It should be tunnel vision. I mean, that's what it should be. You have this job, just finish the season, then do all this. But it's ridiculous. Like you said, you're preparing for the biggest game of your program's history, and you have your two coordinators who are working 2 jobs at once. It's not feasible, and it's not productive. Efficient is the word I would use. So, and you saw too. Yeah, what were we going to say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
No.
Football just needs a calendar that works, where there's a timing to things. Let the coaching carousel happen after the season is over. Start the season a little earlier. Go to just one bye during the season so that it works together.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Brandon brought up a good point. So when Gannon got the job was with Philly, was preparing for the Super Bowl 57 against the Chiefs. He gets a job with Arizona, so they're preparing for the Super Bowl, and that was a big thing. They thought that he kind of checked out, and they lose the Super Bowl, and then it doesn't work out in Arizona. But I agree, same thing. I can't stand it. Like, finish the damn season and then take the job, but to do it within the season is just not feasible. You're trying, because this isn't your job anymore. Now you have the new job. That's a job that's going to propel you. You've been preparing for your whole life, and it affects the team you're playing for. So I agree. Yeah, but it does happen. I agree. So, and also you see, so the NCAA, I guess, 64 teams, 68 now? We're going to go to 76 because those last 8 teams really need to get in. I mean, I said, just put in 100. Let's just put in 100. So you'll have some 14 and 20 teams making the NCAA tournament, and put everybody in. There's something about, I think you can argue about the teams at the end, but really, I think you can't keep adding more teams. You can't do it for college football. I mean, are they going to go to 24 with college football? What is it, 12 now? They said they want to go 16. I just feel like it dilutes the product. So
there is a lot of momentum for a 2014 playoff. And let's face it, some money. It allows schools to bail themselves out because because everybody's over the cap, right? And they'll just solve the problem by creating more money. But absolutely, it dilutes the regular season. You're going to have a season. You're going to have a situation in the future where it's the Iron Bowl and they're resting starters
Right,
because they've already
right,
made the
right,
playoffs. You know, and
right,
what do you do? College
right.
football always has this meaningful regular season in sports. People start talking about it in July, and every week is a tournament. Every week is, an elimination game. But you're going to put that away. You're going to make it so 9-3 teams make the playoffs, and 24
Eight
teams
and
get.
four. No, there'll be an 8-4 team. It'll be a team 8-4, maybe a team 7-5, but played a tough schedule and had a good. So then that's the thing. I mean, you put 24 in. I know they do it in the FCS. They have 24 teams, but I don't know. And then people are like, well, I will say I thought Notre Dame. Brandenburg's a good point. Seton Hall got knocked out. If they made it, Brandon, I'd still think if they made it, you'd be happy. I know you'd be like, oh, we didn't earn it. Well, I hear you. I just feel like you can't keep adding teams. Then, this team didn't get in. Notre Dame should have got in. This team should have got in. I don't know anymore. I feel like you said, right, it's going to be, the Iron Bowl, or, they're playing Ohio State, but you know what? They clinched the playoff spot. So you know what? Dante's going to sit the first half. We're going to play Achilles Smith Jr., and maybe he'll play later in the game. So, yeah, I don't know. I Right, right. Win more games. Right, right. That's the easiest thing. With right, and Tulane. Right. Well, I think they're going to change that. Yeah, because listen, Tulane, James Madison had a phenomenal year in their conference, but they didn't. They played one. I think they played Indiana. They got blown out. But I mean, they had a great year for a great team, and you guys blew them out. It was the second half that you were just. The game was over at halftime, and then they got some late touchdowns. But I agree. Put the best teams in. I know maybe one group of five, but that's it. And Notre Dame had a very solid season and beat a lot of good teams. So, yeah, something's got to change. I agree. So we
With a vision for the game that thinks about what's good for the game. Because right now they're just chasing their money, and they're making a lot of bad decisions because TV really rules the roost.
100% rules the roost. And I saw that Duke is going to play 3 games on Amazon this coming season. They're playing Michigan at the Garden, which my girlfriend wants to go to, but 3 games on Amazon. So how much are they paying Duke to put the games on Amazon? So it is. It's all about. Listen, I watch the Yankees, Dale, and I have to look where they're playing that night. Is it Amazon? Is it Peacock? Is it here? Like, it's crazy. The Knicks are in the playoffs, and they are not having one playoff game with the home announcers. All the games are on cable. Like, and if you watch on Prime, you can't rewind. You miss a play. You miss a play. There's something about the streaming. It's just choppy, and I just feel like we're taken away. I mean. There's something to be said about on a Saturday watching, college football and not have to worry, where am I watching? Where's my team playing this week? And it's just everything. There's just too many things now. I mean, it's
It
like you
seems
said,
like,
there,
yeah, no matter how many streaming services you have, there's always
you know
one
enough.
more. It drives me crazy.
Right.
You never know where they're going to be or who the announcers are. I mean, remember it used to be, now I'm really sounding like an old head, but remember when it used to be Keith Jackson,
Yes.
and Dan Fouts calling college football on a Saturday, you know, knew who was going to announce the game. You knew the teams, the players, and now it's all
and some are all right. It's and there's not good announcers. Like, we're big hockey fans, and they have Will McDonough, who's terrible. He's not a hockey guy, and that's their lead. And so every time there's a good game on, I have to watch it. And I'm like, you had Kirk Gowdy, you had great Merlin Olsen, you had Dick Enberg, you had really Hall of Fame announcers, and now it's like, it's a lot of meh. So
a lot of men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dale, today we went epic. We almost an hour and a half. That's how. So we got to decide when you want to come on again.
Yeah, I would love that, JD. Anytime. Sorry if I rambled a little.
No, you did not. No. There's no apologies here. We never apologize. It was great.
It was great to see you and talk with you. And you got to come out to the Rose City someday, and we'll take you up tug of war.
I told the girlfriend. I said Michigan. That's what I call her. I'm not allowed to say her name on the show. I said Dale wants us to come out. She goes, and I'll tell you, I would love to come out for the football game this year. And I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just come out myself. I'll be like, I'll represent.
Oh, we'd love to have you come out.
But Dale, I appreciate your time again, and we'll have you on very soon, okay?
Thanks very much, JD. You take care.
You have a great day. All right?
Bye.
I will talk to you soon. Okay. All right. So one last thing I wanted to do before we said goodbye to Dale. Dale is like, I am out of here.
No, okay, I'm still here.
You're still here? Proud partners, I'm with the Talkin Sports Fan Network. You can join the community becoming a member and rep your team with us. Chats, podcasts, we do it all. Visit theclashingconferences.com to learn more. That's all I wanted to say. So, and Dale Bliss, find him Autzen Zoo on Facebook. He's on Twitter. He's writing everything. Brandon, thank you. Seton Hall did not deserve to get in this year. We all know that. 76 will get it next year. You'll be happier. College football, fix it up. Deontay Moore, Heisman Trophy winner. Let's go. All right. Have a great day. Thank you again, Dale. Adios.